girl, Mrs. Tony Two Times, and I'm back with another episode of Hood Tales. In this video, I'll be taking it to Norfolk, Virginia, to discuss the 2020 case of 17-year-old Asia Cowell, who disappeared after 3 people plotted to keep her from testifying against a man she accused of violating her. But before we get into this video, I'd like to say thank you to all of our supporters. We appreciate you and hope you stick around. If you'd like to support the channel monetarily, you can find the information on the screen. And to support us for absolutely no cost, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and join the Tony Two Times family. Tap that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, if you'd like to see more episodes of Hood Tales, please click the link to the playlist in the description box after this video to get caught up. And be sure to share this video with everyone you know. Stay tuned until the end to hear all the details. All right, let's get into it. Asia Lionetta Cowell was born May 28, 2003 in Norfolk, Virginia, to loving parents. Asia grew up surrounded by a supportive family and was an adored big sister to her younger brother and sister. Asia's aunt would end up becoming her legal guardian. Their bond was close, and her aunt considered Asia as her little best friend. Asia was generous, funny, sweet, and down to earth. Her smile and personality was so inviting. She loved goofing off and laughing. Asia had the ability to change the atmosphere in a room. Anyone that had the chance of knowing Asia and becoming her friend had a true friend indeed. Asia's light shined bright in every way. Asia was also creative and had a talent for doing hair and a knack for fashion. In 2020, Asia became a high school senior at Granby High School in Norfolk. She was due to graduate in June 2021. Asia was also an aspiring entrepreneur. She was an accomplished hairstylist and fashion designer. She took every opportunity to develop her skills. So in September of 2020, when Asia was contacted on Instagram by a woman named Crystal Alberton to set up a hair appointment, she took the opportunity to build her portfolio. Asia was scheduled to meet the woman at her apartment in Norfolk, located in a neighborhood right off Granby Street and Little Creek Road, on September 7, 2020. The service the woman requested was a braid style for her niece. When Monday, September 7th rolled around, Asia's aunt dropped her off at the woman's residence on the 7400 block of West Kenmore Drive at 12:45 p.m. Asia was supposed to call her aunt to pick her up once she was finished with her client. As the day went by, Asia's aunt still hadn't heard from her to come pick her up. The day came to an end as Asia was nowhere to be found. Asia's aunt had no idea that after dropping Asia off, that it would be the last time she saw her. Asia's family immediately reported her missing to Norfolk police. The day Asia went missing was the Labor Day holiday. The search for Asia began. When police initially spoke with Crystal Alberton, she told police that she was dissatisfied with Asia's service, but despite that, she paid Asia full price, and Asia left her apartment around 2 p.m. on foot. For 2 weeks, Asia's family, friends, and law enforcement continued their search for the 17-year-old. They pleaded for the public's help in finding her. The circumstances around her disappearance were suspicious. Why would Asia leave on foot from Crystal's apartment instead of calling her aunt to pick her up as planned. Then, on September 23, 2020, at 11:15 a.m., Newport News police officers responded to a call in reference to a person no longer alive located near the wood line behind a strip club in the 16,000 block of Warwick Boulevard. The person who found a body led police to the location, about a 2-minute walk from where officers parked their patrol cars. Upon arrival, officers located a female in the stages of decomposition. Medics were called to the scene. The female was positively identified as 17-year-old Asia Cowell from Norfolk. Her passing was later ruled a homicide. Asia's family was devastated by the news. This was not the outcome they had hoped for. Asia's family and friends held a candlelight vigil in her memory at her high school the following day. It was an emotional turnout. All Asia's family wanted now was justice for Asia. Months would go by as Norfolk Police, Newport News Police, and the FBI investigate Asia's slaying. Then, on December 2nd, 2020, at approximately 9:39 a.m., 30-year-old Crystal Alberton was arrested at the Newport News Police Headquarters. She was charged with 1 count each of first-degree hit, abduction by force, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, criminal solicitation, and conspiracy to commit a felony. Officers also arrested 18-year-old Deja Feaster in connection with the incident. She was 17 at the time of when the incident occurred. She was charged with 1 count each of first-degree hit, abduction by force, use of a firearm in commission of a felony, and conspiracy to commit a felony. The day after Crystal Alberton was arrested, her husband, Devin Alberton, was also arrested at the Newport News Police Headquarters. He was charged with 1 count of first-degree hit and 1 count of conspiracy to commit a felony. With the arrest, Asia's family was somewhat relieved to be 1 step closer to justice for Asia. However, now there were so many unanswered questions about what happened to Asia. Taking it back to May 2020, Asia pressed charges on 20-year-old Deshaun Coram, accusing him of violating her in the worst way. Deshaun was accused of allegedly attacking her, putting his hands around her neck, throwing her to the ground, and allegedly doing awful things. Deshaun and Asia dated at one point. The charges against him were pretty serious, and the case was pending in court. Asia was set to testify against him. A pretrial hearing was set for September 29, 2020. According to court documents, Deja Feaster was Deshaun's sister, and she conspired with Crystal Alberton, who is her godmother, to get rid of Asia to keep her from testifying. Crystal used Instagram to set up the hair appointment with Asia in order to lure her to her apartment. During that hair appointment, Crystal, her husband Devin, and Deja carried out the plan. Asia was tied to a bar stool, blindfolded, then forced into a plastic bin, then thrown into the back of an SUV, and driven 30 miles across the water to the woods in the Fort Eustis area of Newport News. Crystal's husband Devin stayed behind. While in the SUV, Deja held a firearm pointed at Asia in an attempt to keep her compliant. Once all 3 arrived in the wooded area, they ordered Asia to walk deeper into the woods. as Deja held the firearm to Asia. They eventually told Asia to stop. Asia begged them not to take her life. She promised she wouldn't testify in the trial. Crystal then told Deja to fire the weapon at Asia, but Deja hesitated. Crystal told her to hurry up, but Deja couldn't do it. After Crystal kept trying to convince Deja to pull the trigger, Crystal took the weapon and told Asia to turn around and pull the trigger herself. Deja then asked Crystal if Asia had passed away. According to Deja, Crystal answered, "Don't know, don't care." The two women left Asia in the woods and drove back to Norfolk. Once they got back, Devin got rid of Asia's belongings, including her cell phone and the hit weapon. Right after that, Devin went on to prepare for a cookout as if nothing ever happened. When the pretrial court date came on September 29, 2020, the case against Deshaun Coram was dropped since Asia had passed away. After an intensive investigation, police were able to confirm that Asia's ex-boyfriend Deshaun Coram had nothing to do with the plot or her slaying. He was cleared of all wrongdoing. Years would go by before Asia's family got any sort of closure and steps closer to justice. In March 2024, Crystal Alberton pleaded guilty. On August 16, 2024, she was sentenced to life in prison plus 3 years to serve consecutively. Crystal's husband, Devin Alberton, also pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 50 years with 11 years suspended. In addition to the prison time, Devin was sentenced to 25 years of uniform good behavior and 5 years of supervised probation. Both Crystal and Devin apologized in court and said they were remorseful and wished that the incident never happened. However, Asia's family wasn't convinced, but accepted that Asia received justice. Deja Feaster will be in court for a plea on October 30th, 2024. She is innocent until proven guilty. May Asia Cowell continue to rest in peace. My deepest condolences to her family and loved ones. This is such an incredibly sad story. Asia's life mattered, and she didn't deserve to lose her life so senselessly. I can't imagine what Asia must have felt in that moment. She already had gone through a tragic situation, having to face the man she accused of hurting her. She was going to have to be brave to testify in court and relive the events of that day in May 2020, not knowing that before she could do that, she would end up losing her life. The fact that these 3 people took it upon themselves to eliminate Asia in an effort to keep her from testifying is diabolical and evil. The person they were trying to protect is still free, while they all end up behind bars. What was going through their minds when they decided to carry out this heinous plot? Asia was only 17, with still so much life to live. Asia's family started a Gofundme to keep her legacy alive. The funds will go to Asia's younger brother and sister to help them with future endeavors and education costs. I'll leave the link to the Gofundme down below if you feel inclined to donate. Fam, what are your thoughts on this tragic story? Let me know in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times. Until next time.